Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Let me get my screen share up so we can all look at the same presentation. Appreciate you guys taking time with me here today for the Not Thought Leadership, Thought Followship session. This is a how-to for 20x marketing ROI. Just a quick note before we get started. We won't have a QA segment during the presentation, but please add me as a connection in the conference platform. I am logged into the conference and I'm happy to take your questions after the session. The short and simple on me is I've been a B2B marketing exec for over 23 years, the last 10 of those in the C-suite. Thought Followship is by far the most successful ABM strategy I have ever leveraged, and I'm going to share it with you today, show you what it's about and how it works so that you can do it. This is 100% strategy and tactics. I have nothing to sell you, so let's just go ahead and jump right in. Okay, we have the Vin Diesel, Dominic Toretto shot here. Just to kind of give you a sense of what we're going to be doing here, we're going to go through a ton of content very quickly. It's going to be very much like a drag race, and there will be things that you might miss along the way because we'll be going so fast. Of course, the deck will be available for you to download. I encourage you even to take screenshots of things because some of the slides I'm going to bring up, I'm just going to tell you right away, take a screenshot of this because we don't have time to read everything that will be on the slide. But the content will serve as valuable resources for you when you seek to execute your own thought followership strategy. All right, so we are going to be going very fast. Now, what are we going to get out of this session? The thought followership strategy will help you establish your company as the brand that's moving your industry forward. Obviously, a very powerful position. We're going to get you through the no reply hell that's like what's happening with cold outreach. We're going to turn gatekeepers into allies at your targeted accounts. We're going to recast your calls to action. Like, I'd like to show you a demo. Would you schedule a demo with me? And we're going to change that to calls to purpose. We'd like to include your voice in this critical conversation for our industry. It shifts entirely the way people respond to you. This is also going to help you build strong relationships with your key stakeholders and prospects, boost your brand's visibility at conferences, make your prospect into the hero, and allow your brand to become the sought-after platform for experts in your industry. Okay, big promises. So lots to cover. And the goal for us when we leave today, you'll be able to get started with your own thought followership strategy and be on your way to a massive boost in relationship building with your prospects, as well as get a huge jump in content engagement. So let's take a look. Who's it for? This is ideal for companies that are in account-based marketing situations, right, where relationship selling is absolutely critical. They're dealing with challenges in terms of engaging their prospects and getting those key stakeholders to respond to them. You're going to be in a competitive, a very noisy market. The top level executives of your targeted accounts are the ones that you need to be engaged with. And you're in a high ticket solution space. You have a high ticket solution offering. That's really the kind of company that I've focused this session on. But if you're not exactly one of those companies, maybe you don't have a high ticket solution, maybe you're not targeting the C-suite, some of the same principles that I'm going to share with you can still be effective in the context that you're in. All right, the thesis in 3 steps looks like this. For your brand, you're going to host and record a series of interviews with industry stakeholders at your targeted accounts on a critical conversation for moving your industry forward. That's step 1. Step 2, you're going to use this market position to build relationships with your key prospects. And then step 3, you're going to convert those relationships into closed business. Let's take a look at how all this happens. Case study highlights. I'm going to use a case study basically to show you how all this works. The highlights of the case study you can see right here. Pretty significant gain. The ultimate punchline is that they got to 16 million in projected lifetime revenue from the business, the opportunities that they created through the Thought Followership campaign. In their case, they had a $550,000 spend, which was a massive yield for them. Obviously, very, very strong yield from that spend. This can be scaled up and scaled down depending on the industry that you're in, the size of competitors that you're going after, the marketplace, et cetera. So you could scale accordingly. Briefly, why does thought followership work as a marketing strategy in account-based marketing contexts? Number 1, being asked for help is more powerful than being asked to buy. So asking for someone's thoughts and opinions, their guidance, their intuition, their knowledge, their intelligence, all these things more compelling than their 30 minutes to sit down and take on a pitch of a solution that you want to present to them. Number two, in relationship selling, the relationship has to come first. Sounds obvious, but in many cases, people try to jump from lead to selling, and they haven't actually done the work of building a relationship. Thought follow-ship is a phenomenal way to build relationships with your prospects. Three, people prefer to hear from their peers versus vendors. And this is totally true in almost every industry. People want to hear from folks that are sitting in the same seat that they're in at a different organization, perhaps even at a competitor organization. They want to hear from the intelligence of people who have dealt with their same problems, are up at night for the same concerns, targeting the same opportunities, et cetera. That's the sweet spot for content for them. And the more that content is about a specific person, the more likely they are to engage with it. So if the content is from or about somebody who's holding my exact same role, that's exactly what I'm going to focus on. If you're not like me, I'm less likely to be thinking that you have intelligence that will be meaningful to me, or at least that's the way the market tends to think. Next. This is the whole map right here. This is the 7 steps for thought follow-ship prospect engagement campaigns. Announce, engage, reach out, capture, build, convert, and use. And again, I'm going to show you these steps in the context of a case study so that you understand what's involved. And I'm going to give you a lot of the resources you'll need to succeed here. Announcing, that's just number 1. I'm about to jump to that. Announce an interview series with a powerful purpose for your industry, right? And you can create an intro trailer to do this. And you're going to, number 2, engage your friendlies to create that intro trailer and build momentum and sizzle for what it is that you're creating here to start attracting attention. And then with that attention build, right, that sizzle, you're going to use that sizzle to reach out to your prospects to include now their valuable voice in this conversation, which is gaining significant momentum. Capture the interviews with those prospects, build relationships from the conversations that are had, convert those relationships into closed business, and then use the mountain of content to establish your brand as a force for change in your industry. Here's our case study. So VisIQuate is the brand here for the case study. I was head of marketing for VisIQuate. RCM Innovators, the name of their thought follow-ship campaign. This campaign all about helping the healthcare industry, the American healthcare industry, advance in terms of its skill around innovation. American healthcare is largely considered to be behind many other industries, either 10 or 20 years, depending on who you ask, in terms of innovation. They don't necessarily demonstrate a strength in the skills of innovation and in the process of innovation. They're considered to be almost the antithesis of like a Silicon Valley energy. So the idea of this series that VisIQuate was hosting was to bring together key minds in this industry to share their ideas on how do you find innovative people? How do you empower them to succeed? How do you create innovative environments? How do you make it safe to fail? How do you, all these things, and they would conduct these conversations with the key stakeholders in their industry to bring these ideas together and collectively move that industry forward through this conversation. Now, I'm going to say this a few times throughout this presentation. A thought follow-ship strategy is not about selling. It's about engaging and relationship building. And you have these conversations not to trick them into hearing about your solution. You engage them in these conversations in order to foster a very valuable dialogue, to build really rich content that the key stakeholders in that industry are eager to pay attention to and listen to and gain guidance from and take actions from. That's the point of thought follow-ship. And VisIQuate did that piece really well. Just briefly on VisIQuate, just in terms of like business profile, they are a data analytics and robotic process automation company in the healthcare space, roughly 30 million in annual revenues. Their total average lifetime value of a new contract, lifetime value, is between 2 and 3 million. I think their average lifetime for a contract was 3 to 5 years. Their average conversion rate for a campaign qualified lead was 15%. All right, so now we understand the company. We understand the thesis behind their thought follow-ship campaign. Let's take a look at some of the results. So 3 categories that you're looking to produce results. Number 1 is revenue from new relationships. Number 2 is impact on existing opportunities, right? So you're in conversation and you're just trying to deepen that relationship, take it further, perhaps accelerate the contracting, right? So move through to that closed business faster, or maybe even expand that deal so that you're covering a broader scope for that prospect. And then revenues from expanded partnerships. This is people you're already in business with. And you're looking to deepen that relationship, get a richer understanding of what they're dealing with, and perhaps find greater opportunity to bring a wider spectrum of your solution suite to them. So again, expanding revenues with existing clients. For VisitQuate, the combined campaign revenue lift was about $5.3 million annually. And based on the lifetime value of contracts, that turns into $16 million worth of revenue from the campaign. A very strong ROI for them on their Thought Followship campaign. So now I'll go through the steps and I'll use their case study as the example. Number one is to announce a video series, a series of interviews with a powerful purpose for your industry, and produce that intro trailer. So they made that announcement. You can see this is sort of the thesis for their series. And they made a trailer that included a lot of stock footage and some commentary from their friendlies, right? So they announced that they were doing this series. They've got existing clients. Some of them, they have really great relationships with some of these clients. And they were eager, in fact, to participate, add their voice, and get this conversation started. So they went and they conducted interviews with these clients, captured some great statements, combined them with some of that stock footage that they got through a stock footage library, put a narrative on it, some music behind it, created a nice video, right? So give this thing some momentum. You've got some key voices participating. It's starting to look very interesting, very meaningful. We don't have time to show it to you now. If you're interested in seeing that series video, you can either go to RCM Innovators, you can Google for RCM Innovators. That'll take you to the VisitQuate webpage where that exists, or this QR code will get you there. Either screenshot this or capture this as you like, and you can watch that series intro. So here's the friendlies, right? They engaged people who were their existing clients. These were, definitely C-suite members and recognizable voices. They also had the opportunity to engage this gentleman. This is Scott Becker from Becker's Healthcare. In their industry, Becker's Healthcare is one of the major publishers, one of the major conference hosts, and he's kind of a key influencer, because the primary partnership that they did for publication of their series was through Becker's Healthcare. Scott Becker was happy to participate. That's a great win for them. They had a powerful voice to add, a very recognizable figure in that industry to add as, kind of a key figure there. Outreach. All right. So when you switch your outreach, as I was saying, switch your outreach from things along the lines of, we want to show you a demo, we want to solve your problems, we want to, show you about us. If you flip that script and change it to, we want you to show us about you. We want to give you a platform to share your intelligence with this industry. We want to hear your best ideas that will help move our industry forward. We want to make you the hero that's sharing the ideas that are going to transform what we're doing here. I mean, typical response rate for cold outreach emails in the standard vein would be, your 3, 4, 5%. You guys are all familiar with that. I was delighted to find that for VisitQuate's campaign, their response rate was 23%. So super dramatic shift in response rate. And again, these are VPs and C-suite members of some of the major health systems across the US having a completely different response to the outreach that's happening here, because it's a very different kind of message, a very different kind of ask. Core campaign elements for VisitQuate's Thought Followship campaign. They covered this at 2 trade shows, 2 days, two main days. Trade shows have sort of like opening days and closing days, but 2 really significant conference days for each of those 2 trade shows. So 4 days total. That was 14 25-minute interview slots per day. So really packed the whole day with interview slots that they did. And they would bring that key person in, mic them up, sit them down, get the cameras dialed in, and boom, you're in recording mode right there. Ultimately, they did capture 56 interviews from like I said, new relationships, 30 from new relationships, 24 existing opportunities, and 6 for partnerships that they already had. In addition to that, they had 4 more interviews that they did with their friendlies at the very top of their campaign. So ultimately, it was a total of 60. So capturing the interviews, right? Once you get them in, you've done a great job. Really some white glove handling with those key industry stakeholders. Bring them in, sit them down, and have the conversation, right? Capture the interviews with your prospects. I'm going to give you some more on how to get those interviews captured and what that can look like. But you're covering really important topics, critical topics that are going to bring intelligence to your industry and help people succeed in more powerful ways. That's the point of these interviews. And you'll find in a thought Followship outreach that people are enthusiastic about having a significant impact on their industry. It's something that people like to participate in. And we did find that energy was very much present in the people that we reached out to for VisitQuate's Thought Followship campaign. And these names, maybe you recognize, like Banner Health, Geisinger, massive health system in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area, Sutter Health, big systems. And these are C-suite members from those systems. So obviously a really big win in terms of account-based marketing for VisicWait in this campaign. So this is the booth, very simple booth. It's actually a booth that got split in half, a 20 by 20 space, kind of a standard conference space. On the right side, you can see that they have that sort of standard sit down chat kind of sales-ish space. Couple tables, some stools, monitors, basic display on that side. And then on the left side, it set up a studio space, some lights. I think it was 4 cameras in total, one of them on a motorized rail. We've got these exterior facing monitors so people can watch the interview take place. An attractive setup for the interview itself. This is that side, just a photo of that side itself. And you could see kind of what's going on with this conversation. This is VisicWait's CEO, and this is this gentleman right here, obviously a very important target for VisicWait, having a conversation. This is just having that person in the chair is a big win. Here we have people from VisicWait listening in, capturing the conversation, understanding what pain points that person's talking about, what ambitions for, let's say, the next coming quarter, what are the challenges they're dealing with, what is the intelligence they're trying to gain, what solutions are they exploring, all the while just covering the main topic of moving the healthcare industry forward through stronger innovation. So super rich intel gathering while this whole thing's taking place. Build relationships from the conversations. So the conversation's just the starting point. You have the recording and having back and forth conversations with them about the edit. Like, here's the edit. I think you said some great things here. We want your blessing on this before we post it. Here's what it looks like. Please let us know if you'd like us to change anything. What you said about X and Y reminded me of something that we're doing in a similar health system to yours over in the Northeast. Like, just work the relationship from the intelligence that they've given you and make it about positioning them as the hero. We're going to post your interview in this channel. We're going to push it through this publisher. We're going to draw attention to it in this way. We're going to, like, all the time reinforcing the purpose of this mission, of this Thought Followship campaign in a conversation. So they're going to recognize your name as your name appears in their email box. They know that's the content that you created with them and for them. They're definitely going to be much more engaged. I love to include photographs of them during the interview, quotes that they've given during the interview. That's all stuff that significantly increases the response rate that you get when you're trying to continue to build that relationship over time. Ultimately, this is where you get into the magic of sales, right? So the marketing team doing a phenomenal job here with account-based marketing, applying the Thought Followship strategies and tactics to get these people in that chair and then have the conversation continue from that point. So I do recommend that the account owner actually be involved or even directly responsible for the post-interview interactions in terms of like showing them the edit, making sure that everything looks good, telling them where it's getting published, helping them understand what kind of engagement their content's getting, all this stuff to just kind of keep that conversation going and then move it towards another opportunity to communicate about their goals and chat with them about possibilities and realign on moving the industry forward. That's the magic of sales taking place after the account team, the marketing team has delivered. Once you've got those conversations really moving, after you've gone from the friendlies to your actual outreach and you've succeeded in putting the right people in that seat and have phenomenal conversations, the point here is you're going to continue to build that energy, continue to build that sizzle. So take key quotes, people saying, very insightful things, whatever's a hot moment in your interviews, people laughing, having a good time, saying, oh, that's a phenomenal idea, really getting the kind of energy moments and build that into a sizzle reel, showing that you have many now of the key stakeholders. A lot of the key intelligence in this industry is present in these conversations. This helps you even more when you do your next round of outreach, trying to find the next round of people to participate for your second conference, your third conference, whatever it's going to be. A tight sizzle reel really helps to create strong momentum. Obviously, you could use this QR code to see it. If you want to see the sizzle reel, please capture that again. We don't have time to go through videos while we're doing this. Okay, in terms of content generation, right? So that was 60 interviews in total. 4 of them were from friendlies, as I mentioned, and the rest of them, 56 from people that we're trying to build relationships with or advance relationships with. So lots of interviews. And the practice for VisicWait, of course, was how do we get visibility for this content? Because these people shared things that are very valuable and sought after intelligence for the community of this industry. And so they would identify in each interview 3 tight quotes, like really like insightful statements that were made, short clips, 20-second to 1-minute long clips of key things being shared. And ultimately that turns into 180 short video clips. I mean, imagine having a backlog of 180 video posts to push through your social channel. That would, I mean, depending on how frequently you post, that could cover you for a year or many months anyway. And then 5 pull quotes, right? Meaning like actually written quotes. I like to do thumbnail versions of quotes where you've got the person, the photo of the person, and then the quote that they said is there. And that just becomes a great post on its own. Tagging them, right, creates much more visibility for your content. Tagging also their company, even more visibility for their content, right? This person sharing super valuable intelligence showcases them and their company as a leader in the industry. Of course, they love that. This does require a comprehensive social posting schedule and strategy for boosting visibility. You might want to add dollars to create more visibility for some of your content in certain markets, et cetera. So you do have to build that out. We don't have time to kind of unpack that here during this session, but you get the idea. Okay, and then ultimately, this is just kind of the outcome. If you do go to RCM Innovators or Google that, this is the webpage that you'll get to. And the interviews, they all looked very good. It was high quality content, very rich conversations, phenomenal insights being shared, and a very successful outcome for VisicWeight in this case. Screenshot this. I'm not going to read this. This is an example of the kind of conference package that you're going to aim for if you want to create a lot of visibility for your content. If you're in the dollar range that I mentioned earlier for the cost of the campaign, this is basically the kind of package you should be expecting to get. A lot of participation for visibility from your conference partner, from your publisher partner. This actually was a conference and publisher partner in one, which is great. If they can help create introductions for you, even better, right? So you're working in partnership with them to create this amazing video series that's going to move the industry forward. That's great language for them. They're able to bring the key stakeholders that they're in a relationship with to this phenomenal event. It all starts to sort of become the self-fulfilling prophecy, very powerful. Another screenshot for you. No need to read this. If you are trying to target creating a thought fellowship campaign at the level that I've been sort of speaking to throughout this session, these are the things that you will need. I also mentioned that if you're not in high ticket B2B, or you're just in a smaller industry, or you don't have the kind of resources to go quite that big just yet, it's just a subset of these things. Thought fellowship is a philosophy as much as it is a strategy, but the idea of creating visibility for the expertise of your targeted accounts rather than your own is really where this is about. And that can be done, yes, with this fully fledged high production value video series, but you can even do it in a series of article posts, right? So depending on what your organization can fund, then you can decide the level that you want to approach this at. All right, just some guidance on your initial campaign trailer. Obviously, start with your friendlies. It's the easiest way to get a campaign trailer going. Aim for tight sound bites as you do those interviews. Try to keep them constrained to really tight statements that would make good short clips to add to your campaign trailer. Do try to hit an emotional chord. Talk about why this is critical for your industry. Why is this personally meaningful to all the people who you're talking with? Don't just make it about hard facts. Really try to get into that emotional level. And then aim for value-rich content, of course. Key insights, best practices, disruptive ideas. That's all very, very powerful stuff, as you would expect. And then that peer-to-peer guidance element. Really emphasize that what you're trying to create by putting this person in the chair is value for a person in their very same role at another organization that they can take and be impactful with, start to move this industry forward as a collective. I do say aim for high production value, because if it looks like high quality, people are more inclined to say, well, I want my voice in that very high quality output, right? Super quick theming guidance. I mean, this stuff should all be pretty obvious, but when you're deciding on the theme for your thought fellowship campaign, focus on what could be most meaningful for the prospects in your industry. What do they value? What do they believe in? What kind of impact do they want to be a part of? What do they want to be seen as a hero in, right? So these are the ideas that would help you sort of formulate what is the main thesis of your thought fellowship campaign, the conversation that you're going to use to move the industry forward. Screenshot this. I've basically just given you the outreach schedule for your emails. This is basically how you should follow this if you want to see. You could obviously increase this. You could do this over a longer period of time, but this is the guidance I have. I'm not going to read it, screenshot it. take it, use it. This is an example of an outreach email. Screenshot that. Okay. And here is the interview request email. Ta-da. It's kind of the fully fledged example there. Okay. And then your email follow-up schedule, same idea. You could screenshot this. It's basically just giving you guidance on what emails should be going out when, once you have completed that interview with that prospect. How do you keep that relationship hot? How do you keep the conversation moving? How do you make sure that you're interacting with them regularly and you don't let this thing sort of fall off the cliff? You've created a lightning strike moment, very rich interaction with them, your CEO and them sitting together, having a rich conversation. It's up to you to make sure that you don't let that thing fall apart. You have to keep the conversation moving. And here's the recommended schedule for that. All right, pro tips. We're getting down to the last few minutes here. I'm just going to go through these quickly. Obviously, very, very critical for you to have tight coordination between your sales and marketing team. If the marketing team is doing this in a silo and the sales team is just not aware that you had that person in that chair across from your CEO and that conversation happened, it's a total miss. I mean, an absolute waste of resources. Make sure that your sales team is richly coordinated with your marketing team on your Thought Followship campaign. Do give your interviewees support to shine as experts. I'm talking about white glove prospect handling. Treat them like the stars that you are elevating them to be. Make sure they know exactly where to go, and you've met them ahead of time, and you've given them, really like a really great service and sitting them down. They're super comfortable. You gave them questions ahead of time. Empowered them to just be an absolute star and showcase the intelligence that they have. You can even do pre-interview conversations to find where is the richest area of intelligence and guidance that they could be bringing into this conversation. Again, just do the best that you can to give them the best chance to shine. And you want to guide your staff on the content sharing. I think I even have that in the next slide too. If you're going to create this content and you have staff that can help you with the posts and the reposts and the likes and the comments and the shares and all that, engage them. That's how you get this content moving and increase that visibility. Just a couple more pro tips real quick. Absolutely have the account owner present when the interview is happening. They should be capturing notes prodigiously, just shredding through yellow pads as that person is talking, and immediately following the interview, like literally as they're standing up. I don't mean the next day. I mean, like they're standing up, they're taking the mic off, maybe give them a thank you gift, set the next action, and bam, fam, right there. BAM, is book a meeting from a meeting. This is your chance to make sure that the next conversation is already in the books. All post-event communications are the account owner's responsibility. Marketing's done a great job up to here, but this is where that handshake is happening. I really appreciate you sitting down with us. I'm going to be sending you the first edit. Want to get your thoughts on it, make sure that's exactly the way you want it to look in this video. We can make any adjustments that you want. You're starting that relationship right there. And then do actively engage the campaign social posts, especially with those pertaining to your prospects, right? So as this stuff gets posted, active engagement, very important. Report on your progress of the campaign for your prospects at a regular growth team meeting. So this thing doesn't fall into like a vacuum. You're going to report on it. You're going to make sure that you're moving this forward, measuring it, and attributing the sales that have come from this back to this investment so you can decide if it was a success for you and you want to do it again. Okay, I know that was a absolute rocket ship through this process, through this strategy, but I have good news for you. We are doing a Thought Followship workshop at the B2B Marketing Exchange in Scottsdale for the 2024 conference. That will be in Q1. That date is coming soon. If you like this, you want to go further with this, you want to learn more, you want to get templates, resources, etc., make sure you are at that event. And I will thank you now because I know we're out of time. I invite you, if you're just curious, you want to understand more, you want to reach out, you want to throw something past me, I absolutely invite you to reach out to me. You can use the QR code to schedule. That's my email, or you can give me a phone call. My gratitude to all of you. Thank you so much for being a part of this, for joining. And I am, again, logged into the conference, and I invite your questions if you have any. Thank you so much.